Hello everyone, Rabbi Rosen here, hoping all is well with you. And I would like to offer for this Shabbat this meditation, if you will, on the events of the past week, and of course, a connection with Torah. When we first meet Moses, we discover that God has a plan for introducing Moses to the power of his mission. Moses is to appear before God at the burning bush, this remarkable scene of a bush that burns but is not consumed. And God says to Moses in that instance, Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha, take off your shoes, because the place where you are standing is holy ground. It's almost as if to suggest Moses needs to feel the holiness of his mission, but also of the place where God appears in his very being, in his very body, in his feet, ultimately in his heart and in his soul. Never should he be distracted from that initial feeling of knowing what it is like to be in the divine presence, something he ought to always feel within him. But there are things that are going to try the patience of Moses, a rebellious people, a stubborn people. And in this week's Torah portion of Chukat, when the people are thirsty, we see that the sum total of all of that stress seems to take its toll. Moses is instructed to take his staff with him and speak unto a rock that will then bring forth water. But Moses instead hits the rock. Water gushes forth, but because, as we are told, Moses fails to sanctify God in that instance, Moses, is not allowed to enter the promised land. Now, there are many different interpretations of the fine details of that kind of punishment, but that basic image remains. He hits when he should be speaking. It's almost as if we find a description of our current culture and society. We hit before speaking, before listening, far too often. We resort at the minimum to very hateful rhetoric and are very quick to condemn before even giving the other side an opportunity to speak. In the most stark and painful and violent expressions of this dynamic, we see what happened in Highland Park this past Monday on the 4th of July, and indeed throughout Chicago and other places throughout what ought to have been a celebratory holiday weekend. It's a very terrible mixture when the ready availability of guns is able to mix with a personality that is often feeling itself to be hurt, misunderstood, never having a Moses moment of being in a place of holiness and feeling within one's own bones the power of purpose, of meaning, the power of being valued, the sense of being in God's divine presence. We are not only able to perhaps move forward, I hope and pray, through legislation and through policies and through all manner of interventions to stop the carnage we are witnessing. But we also can be advocates of helping each other to feel the power of the peaceful presence of the divine in our own bones, in our own lives, looking constantly for ways of saying to each other, you are valued because you are a child of God. You are created in the image of the divine, no less than anybody else. And the beginning of all wisdom, the beginning of peacefulness, is to remember that one of God's names in Torah is Shalom. God's very name is peace. And by feeling that peace, by advocating for that peace, standing for that peace, God willing, we will all walk forward just a bit more confidently and comfortably into a far better and peaceful future. Please, Yehi Ratzon, please God, may that be your will and our reality. Take care, everyone. Wishing you the very best. Shabbat Shalom.